Next Tuesday, can Tony Hale handle summer's #1 news show?
Paddle. Ball.
This is the day of shame.
New Password next Tuesday on NBC.
Capital One College Bowl.
I'm pumped up.
All right, pace yourself, bro. Rival colleges competing for $1 million in scholarships. I'm your host, Quiz Show King.
No comment.
Capital One College Bowl, Fridays this fall on NBC.
Later, Jimmy Fallon welcomes co-host Megan Thee Stallion. NBC Tonight.
On our broadcast tonight, Aspirus is raising awareness about mental health. We'll break down the resources available in the Northwoods.
Plus, a ski resort is changing hands. The updates coming to a popular resort in the UP.
And Crandon is preparing for a 4-day-long event, which you can expect during the Crandon Rock celebration. Your local news starts right now.
Your local news and weather from where you live. News Watch 12 at 10 starts now.
Good evening and welcome to News Watch 12 at 10. I'm Jessica Jukic.
And I'm Michael Lodeholtz. Millions of Americans struggle with mental health every year, and there are resources available for those seeking help.
News Watch 12's Mohammed Abdul Kawi spoke with an Aspirus mental health expert about what you can do to take care of yourself.
But I would definitely say we are in a mental health pandemic.
MHA, also known as Mental Health America, says nearly 1 in 5 American adults have a diagnosable mental health condition.
Mental health is about our brain and the way that we think about things. So really, the practices that we do within therapy are cognitive behavioral therapy or dialectical behavioral therapy.
Heidi Pritzel, a clinical social worker at Aspirus, says there are many causes for mental health problems.
Sometimes it can be hereditary. It can also be situational. So, for example, when we think of trauma, if you've witnessed or been a part of trauma, that can also be a cause of mental health.
Mental health problems can cause anxiety, depression, as well as PTSD. Heidi believes that if you do have a medical problem, you should seek help with someone you trust.
So some real big factors are prevention, linking with supports in your area, whether that be a local chaplain or a therapist, to receive that support for treatment.
Having the best health possible is important for a healthy life. Being outside and getting some vitamin D, as well as having a hobby, are a few ways to help out with stress.
Whether they're working out or they play a sport, that is so important for mental health. Hobbies, interests. But as we know with mental health, sometimes that's really hard to do. It's even a struggle to just get out of bed or want to get up in the morning.
And while Heidi says she is seeing a rise and increase in mental health, she hopes that people continue to talk about it as well as seek treatment if needed.
But that's also because I think we're becoming more aware. We have a lot of resources virtually and in person. So hopefully we are moving closer and closer to breaking that wall down and that stigma.
Reporting in Eagle River, Mohammed Abdul Kawi, News Watch 12.
If you're struggling with mental health, call the Mental Health Crisis Line at 1-888-299-1188. You can also call or text the new Wisconsin Crisis Hotline at 988. Both services are available 24 hours a day. It was a warm and windy day throughout the Northwoods.
Chief Meteorologist Jeff Weller joins us now. Jeff?
Yeah, hey guys, temperatures took a step back today. Yesterday, lots of 80s. Today, lots of 70s. There's a couple 80s in there, though. And more 80s are on the way. Not so much tomorrow, but definitely for Thursday into Friday. 74 here in Rhinelander today. 79 for Green Bay. So again, a bit cooler. Outside right now, it's 57 in Tomahawk. 67, though, for Wausau. So very comfortable air out there. And the dew points are incredibly low. When they're in the 40s and 50s, that's very dry air. So with low temperatures down in the 50s, the dry air locked in place. Open up the windows tonight. It's going to be a gorgeous night outside. And there's lots of no clouds out there really right now. This is all interference across the radar to the west of us. So overall, dry tonight, dry tomorrow, dry Thursday. But then Friday, there's a couple more thunder showers back in the forecast. Nothing on the radar now. High pressure is building in. We have some very nice days on the way. Our forecast then for tonight, though, is mostly clear skies and comfortable with low temperatures down near 54. Your full forecast is coming up. Jessica.
Thank you, Jeff. A Wisconsin prison supervisor who allegedly had a relationship with an inmate faces multiple counts of felony sexual assault. On Monday, Racine County prosecutors charged 37-year-old Jacqueline Height with 20 counts of second-degree sexual assault and felony counts of delivering illegal articles to an inmate and misconduct in the office. The Racine Journal-Times reported that according to the criminal complaint, authorities found an inmate's cell phone with nude photos of Height on it, as well as text messages messages between the two. The inmate told investigators they had consensual sex in Heights' office at the Racine Correctional Institution more than 20 times between April and August.
Deputies in Lincoln County are looking into a report of shots fired near Gleason. The incident occurred on Town Hall Road in the town of Russell. A woman told investigators that a vehicle drove by her home and someone in the vehicle fired off 4 rounds from what is believed to be a handgun. Neighbors also told authorities that they heard the shots. It is believed that the event is the result of an ongoing civil dispute. Deputies were unable to locate the vehicle, described as a blue or black pickup truck. No suspects have been identified, and the incident remains under investigation.
Republican Senator Ron Johnson is criticizing Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes for his campaign security costs. Tuesday, Senator Johnson targeted Barnes, citing a report by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. The newspaper reported that Barnes has logged more than 10 times as many hours of security than his predecessor. Barnes averaged more than 13.5 hours of security protection a day. That cost the state $608,000 during his 3 years in office. Barnes' increased use of security was an issue early in his term as lieutenant governor. Johnson's campaign spokesperson called the rising costs, quote, outrageous and unprecedented.
As schools prepare for the start of their year, Governor Evers is continuing his support of education. Governor Evers today announced a $90 million investment into K-12 education across the state. The investment includes $15 million to double the governor's Get Kids Ahead initiative, which provides mental health services in K-12 schools across Wisconsin. $75 million is also available for districts to meet staffing needs, keep classroom sizes small, and provide other direct classroom support. The governor's announcement today comes as many districts are facing significant staffing challenges and increased student mental health needs, among other challenges exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic.
A ski resort and 2 historic ski hills are now under new ownership. Granite Peak purchased the Big Snow Resort in the Upper Peninsula. The purchase includes the 2 ski areas of Indian Head and Blackjack. The resort will be renamed Snow River Mountain Resort. The 2 ski hills will be named Black River Basin and Jackson Creek Summit after the 2 rivers that flow through the resort. The new owner, Charles Skinner Jr., says there are 2 reasons they decided to change the name. The first is to have, quote, a sensitivity to co-opting Native American culture and to eliminate confusion because Big Snow is used by another ski operation.
Thursday marks the beginning of the 2nd annual Crandon Rocks Labor Day weekend. This is a 4-day celebration in Forest County. Visitors can attend the parade Friday through downtown Crandon, along with live music each evening and the famous off-road races. During the celebration, the raceway will hold the 53rd Polaris Crandon World Championships and 7th Red Bull Crandon World Cup. There will be free shuttle services throughout the raceway, downtown, and lodging areas for visitors to enjoy safe travel throughout the festivities.
The Rhinelander Chamber of Commerce is gearing up for its final shopping event of the year. The 2022 Summer Pop-Up Series is being held Friday morning outside the chamber. 10 vendors will be on hand selling a variety of items like art, baked goods, jewelry, decorations, and even soap. The event runs from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Friday. A team from the International Atomic Energy Agency is set to visit the largest nuclear plant in Europe within Russian-occupied Ukraine.
Coming up, find out how they plan to make the journey over there and provide services to the war-torn plant.
This portion of Newswatch 12 is brought to you by Stone Innovations, Rhinelander and Plover.
Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Scherer, DC with the Spinal Aid Center of Wausau. Are you one of the millions of people suffering with the symptoms of peripheral neuropathy? Your symptoms may include numbness and tingling in your feet or hands, difficulty sleeping from leg or foot discomfort, and debilitating balance problems. I have good news for you. You can now get relief with our breakthrough treatment method without the use of drugs or surgery. Our treatments help to heal damaged nerves that cause peripheral neuropathy. If left untreated, you may eventually end up with a walker or wheelchair, so don't delay. Call our office now to schedule an appointment to see if our treatment methods are right for you. We will do a painless neuropathy severity exam to determine the amount of nerve loss. If you qualify for our treatment, it can truly change your life. Start living your life pain-free. Call today.
My wife and I worked hard for decades. We thought our retirement was secure.
But inflation is changing everything. Gas, groceries. It's hard for retirees on fixed incomes. But I'm even more worried about the debt we're leaving our grandchildren.
Senator Ron Johnson understands we must get spending under control.
And he's working to stop the waste in Washington.
Tell Senator Johnson to keep fighting for Wisconsin seniors and the next generation.
Lance Truck, Lance Truck. We got the truck track, Lance Truck.
Nobody has more used trucks all on one lot, all priced to move. So when you're ready to buy your next truck, know that all Lens trucks are fully inspected, certified clean, and can be bought hassle-free online. Go now to lenstruck.com. You'll find over 800 used trucks, all priced to move.
We got the truck stacked, Lance Truck.
Plenty of sunshine out there today with high temperatures back in the 70s. We kind of put to bed the 80s for a day or so before they come back again on Thursday and Friday as much warmer temperatures are on the way. Summer is still holding on even though we enter September in just a day or two, right? Okay, so out there today, 74 in Rhinelander, 73 for Antigo, 79 for Green Bay. Remember yesterday there were lots of 80s out there, not so much today, although I see one there in Wausau. Anybody else? No, not right now today. But tomorrow, pretty much same, right? 70s tomorrow, followed by some 80s back in the forecast for us on Thursday. All right, right now, though, is a comfortable 58, but notice how dry the air is. This dry air, the temperature could actually go down to the dew point or so tonight. Right now, it's at 50, so that could mean a cool evening for us tonight, and then tomorrow night as well before even warmer temperatures get in here. Right now, the west wind around 7 miles per hour in Wausau. 67 for Wausau, west wind around 8, and the dew point there of 52, so very comfortable air locked in place for us right now. Just a gorgeous evening out there with temperatures hanging out in the upper 50s to low 60s. We'll take it this time of the year, even though somewhat warmer temperatures are on the way. The average high is 75. The average low is 50. Look at that record low of 28 back in 1915. I don't remember that one. And the sun set earlier at 7:39. All right, so going forward temperature-wise, 76 tomorrow, still above average, but then look, right back up in the 80s, 82 for Thursday and Friday, followed by a cool down. That's a problem because a cold front is going to come through on Friday afternoon and evening. It's going to drop temperatures on Saturday, but it could give us a couple rain showers on Friday evening into Friday night. Outside right now, here's the Mackinac Bridge, a gorgeous scene there all lit up. But notice if you look closely, get your bifocals on. Under the bridge here, we're still making some waves. The wind is out there. We've had wind gusts today near 30 miles per hour. That will begin, or it is dying down now, but it's coming back tomorrow. So we'll get wind gusts again near 30 miles per hour for a few hours tomorrow before it begins to kind of pull back. It's also kicking up allergies, though, so people stop mowing your grass because the pollen is out of control right now. If you take a flashlight right now and kind of beam it straight up, you'll see all the pollen kind of flying by the flashlight. Weed is in the moderate category. Mold is in the moderate category as well. So overall, sniffling and sneezing, that's me. Allergies are out of control right now. Outside currently, we have lots of clear skies. This is all interference to the west of us. That will stay that way. Absolutely no worries for us tonight or tomorrow or for Thursday, but then a couple of thunder showers in your Friday. So tomorrow we're talking about temperatures back in the 70s with lots of sunshine, maybe an 80 across central Wisconsin, although that could be a stretch for Portage County as well. Our forecast then tonight, though, is mostly clear skies. Low temperatures down near a cool 54. For tomorrow, a gorgeous day once again. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures mid-70s. We'll take it with that northwest wind that could still gust near 30 through the afternoon. And then looking ahead, your 7-day forecast by Nones Furniture and Mattress shows tomorrow we're dry. Thursday we're dry. Friday, about 30% chance for thunder showers Friday afternoon. Then the weekend looks good with temperatures hanging out in the 70s. Jessica?
Water supply issues in Jackson, Mississippi are reaching critical levels.
Some residents are waiting in mile-long lines at distribution centers while others rush to grocery stores to find they're sold out of water. The problem started at the city's main water treatment plant following heavy rains and flooding, which impacted storage tanks, pumps, and water pressure. The mayor says the water system is old and in need of repairs. Today, the governor declared a state of emergency.
We do have a plan in place to potentially bring in an additional rented pump, which will allow us to pump at least 4 million gallons of water additionally, hopefully which will be installed by tomorrow morning. That is progress. That is good. that is something that will help.
Residents have been under some sort of boil water notice or advisory several times in the last year alone after a 2021 winter storm shut down the entire system.
The U.S. Army has grounded its entire fleet of Chinook helicopters due to fire risks. An Army spokeswoman says a small number of engine fires sparked in some of the Boeing H-47 Chinooks. They believe a fuel leak caused the fires. No injuries or deaths have been reported due to the issue. The Army says it is taking steps to fix the problem. Still, out of caution, approximately 400 Chinooks are grounded until a fix is complete. The Army has been using Chinook helicopters to carry cargo and service members into combat and for other critical operations since the 1960s. At this hour, nuclear inspectors are making a risky, high-stakes trip to examine Europe's largest nuclear plant at Russia's lethal invasion of Ukraine nearly 200 days after the war began.
We need to warn you, some of the images and subject matter in this next story on the war in Ukraine are extremely graphic and may be hard to hear or see. John Lawrence has the latest.
People lie amongst rubble as smoke from a Russian military strike fills the air. A grim scene in Kharkiv Park, where at least one person has been killed. In the central part of the city, smoke rises through the mangled metal of a rooftop. Russian shelling claiming the lives of at least 3 more people and wounding 9 others. This as a team from the International Atomic Energy Agency arrives in Ukraine with hopes to inspect the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant that has been suffering damage from fires and has had its reactors knocked offline multiple times after being caught in the crossfire of Russian and Ukrainian forces.
We want the IAEA mission headed by Director Grossi to find a way to reach the plant via our forces and security corridors and to do their utmost to avoid all the dangers this poses to the world.
The European Union is now set to deliver more than 5 million potassium iodide tablets to Ukraine to protect against potential radiation exposure.
I think things are inching closer to a potential disaster, but hopefully the IAEA mission will focus more international attention on this crisis, put more pressure on Russia to stand down and to stop using the plant as a shield, and therefore take it out of the line of fire.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Northwoods residents living in our rural communities rely on gas to get from place to place.
Coming up on Newswatch 12, find out just how low prices have dropped.
When our kids go to school, we want them thinking about this, not worrying about this. But Tim Michaels would allow guns on school grounds and let teens buy AR-15s and red flag laws that help prevent school shootings. He says they won't happen here. It's another reason Tim Michaels' radical agenda is a risk we just can't afford.
Did you know you can start your 4-year degree locally and get the same college experience closer to home? From the moment you step onto our campus, we'll be there for you, supporting your dreams, saving you money, and giving you a well-rounded academic and social experience with student housing, clubs, sports, and leadership opportunities. With NTC's liberal arts transfer degree, you can start here and go anywhere, including guaranteed transfer to UW-Madison, North Central Technical College, transferability made easy.
We would never hit 12 drunk.
Clutch it up drunk? Not a chance. Do a stoppie drunk? We would never drip drunk. So you should never drive drunk. Drive sober or get pulled over.
It's time to amp up the fun at your local Ford dealer during the final days of the summer Supercharged sales event. You still have time to lock in your order on select Ford vehicles, and we'll lock in your rate. Even if rates go up before your order comes in, you're protected. So stop by your Ford dealer today during the final days of the summer Supercharged sales event. Hurry to lock in 2.9% financing for 60 months on select Ford trucks and SUVs, only at your local Ford dealer.
Coming up on your Wednesday morning, Rhinelander Superintendent of Schools will be here talking about school safety at the beginning of the school year.
And we have lots of sunshine, but rain is incoming. When? I'll have that coming up.
The price of oil fell more than 5% in trading on Tuesday.
It settled at $91.64 a barrel to mark its lowest price in 5 weeks. Overall, the price is trending down, with prices in the U.S. 30% lower since spiking at more than $130 per barrel in March. That's translating to lower prices at gas stations for consumers. The national average is now $3.84 per gallon. Prices at the pump have been falling for 77 days in a row.
Artemis's go for try number 2. NASA will try again Saturday to launch the inaugural flight in the Artemis mission. It was first planned for Monday morning, but had to be scrubbed when the team had trouble cooling one of the rocket's 4 engines. Engineers have now made the changes to the propellant loading procedure and are ready to try again. This first flight is an unmanned mission to test NASA's newest space system, which is slated to land another astronaut on the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. It'll be the first time the agency has used its Space Launch System heavy rocket. That rocket has been in development for more than a decade.
A new law being proposed in California could change the lives of fast food workers. It could also have a lasting impact on the fast food industry if California Governor Gavin Newsom signs it. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has the story.
After months of rallies across California, the new legislative victory for fast food workers could transform the industry and significantly impact the wages earned by hundreds of thousands of low-paid workers.
I'm overjoyed. I never thought to be part of a movement like this.
Under the bill, employees like Evelyn Barrias could easily make up to $22 an hour starting next year, and an annual cost of living adjustment.
I have 4 children. We're barely making ends meet to pay for our apartment. It would change my life completely.
Still in need of the governor's approval, the measure is a major step toward sectoral bargaining, which gives workers a seat at the table with employers. Rare in the United States, only sectors like auto manufacturing use similar negotiations.
This bill brings equity for Black and Latino fast food workers up and down the state of California. It means that they can both put food on the table and gas in the tank.
Impacting restaurant chains with at least 100 locations nationwide, experts believe raising wages will increase salaries for those in other sectors like retail. Some argue it also comes at a cost.
What's the impact for customers?
Yeah, I think customers are going to see a 20% effective food tax on menu items just to pay for this bill.
Tonight, the fight over fast food laws and its impact on both sides of the counter. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
The sun is setting on Toyota's national sales event. Wait, they have until September 6th.
Get 1.9% APR for 48 months on Toyota's most popular 2022 models. Toyota, let's go places.
Save today with 11% off everything at Menards. Protect your vehicles, outdoor equipment, and more with Shelter Logic storage products. Both our garages and sheds can be assembled quickly to block harmful UV rays while protecting your investments. And you'll be sure to enjoy your backyard get-togethers, rain or shine, with a Shelter Logic canopy. Large or small, we carry a storage solution to meet your needs. Get 11% off all Shelter Logic storage products now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Listen to this sweet deal. Ron Johnson used his office to scoop up millions for himself. Like how Johnson secured a special tax break that benefited his own business.
Did my business benefit? Sure.
The tax break helped Johnson double his wealth. And the cherry on top? It's helped make him the 5th richest senator in Washington. Ron Johnson's not looking out for Wisconsin. He's out for himself. DSCC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Allie.
And this is our family from Shoulders RV and Marine. If this year's taught us anything, we believe it's taught us we need to get back to the good old days of enjoying the outdoors, camping, boating, and buying from small businesses. Here at Shoulders RV and Marine, we happen to check all of those boxes. Next time you're in the market for a dock or lift, boat, camper, power sports, or nearly anything outdoors, sales, rentals, parts, or service,
We'd love you to think of us.
Shoulders RV and Marine, across from Menards, Rhinelander.
Is pain from an ingrown toenail preventing you from doing the things that you love? Family Foot and Ankle is your permanent solution to nail pain. Don't wait too long. Taking care of the problem early can eliminate a multitude of problems in the future. We offer many in-house, same-day permanent procedures to get you pain-free and back to doing what you love. Our services are often covered by insurance. Call our office today to schedule your visit at any of our convenient locations.
The sun is setting on Toyota's national sales event. Wait, they have until September 6th.
Get 1.9% APR for 48 months on Toyota's most popular 2022 models. Toyota, let's go places.
Autumn is right around the corner and many fall events are sure to follow.
But one event that you can experience right now is Hansen's Corn Maze. Hansen's Garden Village opened up their corn maze last Thursday. It's been an annual tradition for the village, but they couldn't open the maze last year due to poor crop growth.
Last year wasn't a great growing season for our corn maze, so hopefully customers will be excited to retry it this year and have a different experience.
While last year wasn't great, Beth Hansen, the manager of Hansen's Garden Village, said that the growth this year has been one of the best they've ever had and recommends the guest experience the maze now while everything's green and luscious.
So it's really great to come in the early season. A lot of people think they're going to come in October, but I would challenge them to come now into early September for the most challenge, because it's really hard to see where you're going and know where you're at in the maze. It's easy to get lost.
The corn maze will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and will also open Saturdays 9 to 3. For more information, you can visit the Hansen's Garden Village website. When animals are injured, they need a place to go.
But a lot of those injuries are preventable, according to a wildlife rehabilitation center near Rhinelander. Newswatch 12's Morgan Johnson tells us how they think educating people will help wildlife.
Little shorebird out there popping around, a little sandpiper.
After 30 years in wildlife rehabilitation, you'd almost think the animals like being treated by Mark Naniat.
There goes a coyote running over there right now.
From mice to bears to hummingbirds to eagles, Naniat does it all.
Just a ton of different things that we can do.
At Wild Instincts in Rhinelander, Naniat cares for any injured or orphaned animal. He also likes to educate people, but can't do that at the rehab center.
Our building isn't really designed for that, so mostly we go out to different places. Schools, camps, adult groups, different things.
That's why Naniat decided it was time to step towards an expansion.
So we've always had education as part of our mission, and so we just wanted to grow that. And that was kind of the plan from the beginning, and now we're getting to the point of realizing that.
A mile down the road, Naniat can access the 73 acres Wild Instincts owns.
All right, so this was just an old concrete block garage. The ceiling is falling in on it.
Right now, it's a few abandoned buildings, but Naniat sees much more in its future.
What we would like to see is nature education displays in a building. We'll have nature trails. We'll have some photo blinds so people can take pictures of great blue herons and ducks and different things in a little photo blind.
Once it's complete, Naniat can see it benefiting the community and wildlife.
The more that they are educated about these different things, it means the less animals we're going to get in for wildlife rehabilitation. So the two kind of go hand in hand.
Reporting for Newswatch 12 in Rhinelander, I'm Morgan Johnson.
Here's Mandela Barnes avoiding questions about his unpaid taxes.
He stormed out of an interview after being asked about his unpaid property taxes.
Barnes also paid no income tax, yet Barnes supports Biden's tax increase on working families and an army of new IRS agents to audit middle-class families. Mandela Barnes, higher taxes for you, unpaid taxes for him. Wisconsin Truth Pack is responsible for the content of this advertising.
They want to talk about property taxes.
I can't believe they're so flexible.
Our new phones or US Cellular?
Both. I was already a customer and I got the latest Galaxy Z Fold 4 free.
Yeah, I just signed up and I got the exact Galaxy Z Flip 4 I wanted for free.
They're like double phones. It feels like we got twice as much phone for free. Do they know what a steal that is?
I hope they never flip and find out.
New and current customers can choose any new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 or Z Fold 4 free. Only at US Cellular, where every plan is price protected.
Hi, I'm Dr. Justin Scher, DC with the Spinal Aid Center of Wausau. Are you one of the millions of people suffering with the symptoms of peripheral neuropathy? Your symptoms may include numbness and tingling in your feet or hands, difficulty sleeping from leg or foot discomfort, and debilitating balance problems. I have good news for you. You can now get relief with our breakthrough treatment method without the use of drugs or surgery. Our treatments help to heal damaged nerves that cause peripheral neuropathy. If left untreated, you may eventually end up with a walker or wheelchair, so don't delay. Call our office now to schedule an appointment to see if our treatment methods are right for you. We will do a painless neuropathy severity exam to determine the amount of nerve loss. If you qualify for our treatment, it can truly change your life. Start living your life pain-free. Call today.
Looking to add warmth to your home with a new gas, wood, pellet, or electric unit? Look no further than Trapper's Fireplace Gallery in Eagle River, carrying the best selection from Heat and Glow, Quadrifire, Simplifier, and Vermont castings. From complete installs to service to maintenance, we have you covered. From the Dahlquist family you've trusted for over 50 years, visit their showroom, Trapper's Fireplace Gallery in downtown Eagle River. Welcome to the family.
A member of the San Diego Zoo's African penguin colony has been fitted with orthopedic footwear. A 4-year-old penguin, Lucas, has lesions on his feet due to a chronic condition known as bumblefoot. The zoo's wildlife care specialist turned to an organization called Therapaw, which creates rehabilitative and assistive products for animals with special needs. These shoes are cushioned and use Velcro to hold them in place, so Lucas is able to climb rocks, swim, nest, and even find a mate like the rest of his penguin colony.
He looks very happy there.
Yeah, lots of animal help stories tonight. I love that.
Yeah.
Especially love Wild Instincts, by the way. They do such great work over there. I'm glad they're expanding, too. So
I don't think we're going to see many penguins there.
No penguins, but, you know, they have lots of animals, like 100 different kinds of animals there, I believe. So they're happy tonight, though, as there's hardly any humidity in the air this evening, with temperatures hanging out in the 50s. So people like that stuff. So open the windows over there at the Wild Instincts because the animals will enjoy that. All right, so clear skies out there currently will give way to maybe a couple clouds tomorrow, most likely not. Michael, if you're going hiking, it's going to be a very sunny day once again. Don't forget your sunscreen. And then looking ahead, we're talking about temperatures in the 70s tomorrow, but 80s are not too far behind. In fact, Thursday into Friday, 80s are in the forecast before a couple thunder showers Friday evening to cool us off for Sunday or Saturday and Sunday.
Not bad. That sounds like a pretty good forecast.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Newswatch 12 at 10. Up next is Jimmy Fallon with The Late Show. Well, The Tonight Show.
Labor Day weekend at Crandon International Raceway is here. 3 huge days and nights of racing and entertainment. It's the biggest and most prestigious off-road race in the world. September 1st through 4th, the 53rd Polaris Crandon World Championships. Get all the information for this incredible weekend of racing and camping at CrandonOffroad.com. See you at the Big House.
At Batteries Plus, we do more than replace batteries and fix phones and tablets. We help our neighbors power their lives. Need a phone fixed? We got it. Get powered in-store, curbside, and at batteriesplus.com.
It's time to amp up the fun at your local Ford dealer. The summer Supercharged sales event is here. So stop by your Ford dealer today and check out great offers on select Ford vehicles. Then discover how Ford can take your summer to a whole new level. Hurry to the final days of the summer Supercharged sales event for a great Flex Buy offer on Escape or Edge.
Hypnotize your way to savings.
Breathing techniques to help you save.
Looking to make saving a habit?
Yeah, what's the secret?
No secret. Just open a savings account at BMO and we'll give you a cash reward for every month you save.
A cash reward?
Just for saving?
Mm-hmm. And when you open a checking account, we'll give you a $300 bonus to get your new savings habit started.
Love that.
What's your book?
How to get a $300 bonus and a monthly cash reward for saving with BMO.
He literally wrote the book on saving.
That's me on the cover.
When a bank helps you make real financial progress, that's the BMO effect.
It's Northwoods Furniture's Sizzling Summer Sale going on now.
As the summer heats up, so do our sales. Find red-hot store-wide savings at both locations. We have it all. Beautiful furniture and mattresses